Hello guys, and welcome back to this new episode. Today we are going to talk about a new different episode, this time around on elephants and how much they are intelligent. So let's start. And let's first of all clarify the difference and the different types of elephants. We have elephants coming from Africa and specifically from the savannah. Those are the larger ones and the ones also that live longer, and elephants coming from African forests. Then we also have Indian type of elephants, and the difference here is in the ears. The ears, in terms of shape and size, they differ. So the shape of the ears of African elephants is Africa shaped. They are larger also in the sense that or for the purpose that they need to dissipate the heat. Understandably also, whereas basically the shape of Indian elephants is more Indian, an Indian type of shape, and they are smaller. And that already tells us something about the elephants, right? Because it's already a very huge indicator of elephants. Let's move on though. The African elephant differs from the Indian elephant also because of another couple of features. The first one is the trunk. The trunk in the African elephant has two fingers. It's like two different flaps, right? Like a mouth shaped, or like a scissor if you like, right? And that is to grab things, right? So basically it is kind of open in the middle so it can grab whatever it wants. Whereas the Indian elephant completely lacks of this feature. Furthermore, let's talk about their forehead, because the forehead is another important element. The African forehead is very smooth, so in other words, it does have wrinkles and whatnot, but it's pretty much smooth, right? So there is nothing weird, nothing particular going on there, right? Whereas in the Indian elephant, you can kind of notice that there's a divot line that creates some sort of curvature that separates the first part of the forehead from the second part. And so in the second part, it seems there is like a little bit of a lump, a little bit of like a groove that separates the first from the second part, the higher part of the forehead. But except for this difference, right, in general, what we can say about elephants is that those are exceptional animals. They are social, intelligent, creative. They communicate in many different ways through the body, but they then also emit infrasound so that it can be heard by the rest of the members, even if those members are far, far away from them. They vocalize, they have different types of communication to understand each other. So different members of the same group can communicate. But let's talk for a second about those groups. Those are based on matriarchs, meaning basically on females. And the older female elephant is the one that leads the group. So much so that an old male elephant remains by himself, so stays pretty much alone, right? Now, it is also true that as much as the female elephant is the leader, it is also true that they kind of travel divided up in groups, females with females and males with males. But it is also true that females have a leading role in many ways and senses. It is sufficient indeed to think about that the fact that only males will join other males after some time, possibly when they are grown enough to be able to travel with other males. And so they travel tendentially in two separate groups. But here, what interests us the most are the social factors that we share also with elephants. Specifically, they have a very good memory. To have the memory of an elephant is to have a very good memory indeed. So they live between 33 and 70 years, which means that their life spans across decades. And also, they have a neuronal and synaptic system very similar to ours. So they can preserve their memory thanks to the presence in their head of the hippocampus. Elephants are able so to recognize other elephants of their own group, but also elephants belonging to different groups. Elephants also, after a long period of time, but other individuals, other human beings, but also other individuals of other species. So they are able to recognize pretty much everybody or every individual of any species they have encountered, which is amazing. Now, having this type of structure is also counterproductive in the sense that we know of. Elephants can suffer from PTSD, in other words, post-traumatic stress disorder, because basically they are able to understand a traumatic event and to re-elaborate traumatic event, and the impossibility of properly elaborating that event will create PTSD. With that being said, though, there is something else that must be added, especially right now, which is that in some way Mother Nature is correcting the errors of human beings. If we think about African elephants right now, they are being born in territories in countries like Mozambique without tusks. As we know, tusks are made of ivory, and for this reason there is elephant poaching that is completely legal and absurd type of hunting. And so now tuskless elephants are growing up, are being born in these territories, which on the one hand is very good for them, and I'm kind of happy for this reason, but on the other hand highlights how stupid we are and the type of bullshit, excuse my French, that we are able to do. And it tells us about the impact, the way we affect our territory. In Africa, we are hunting them for their tusks made of ivory. In Asia, we are hunting them because of deforestation, right? And so we are trying to deprive them from their own habitat. With that being said, though, let's move on to something else. This memory is extremely important. It allows them to have PTSD. It allows them to be able to recognize other individuals, and therefore to recognize, members of their species and other species as well. It allows them to elaborate different behaviors, though, right? Behaviors among which we have to talk about one in specific, one in particular, and that is a behavior that we might think of as compassionate, that we might think of as pretty much human or humane, if you like. They practice burial. The burial could be that of another elephant, but also that of a dog, that of somebody, some individual of any species who has died. Now, very important is that I must tell you that the reason would seem to be more pragmatic than anything else. Recent psychological theorists have suggested that they don't do that out of compassion. They don't do that out of wondering what is afterlife and maybe praying to go to heaven. But they seem to do this in order to avoid what is known in psychology as a error of second type. So a second type error. In other words, this meaning practicing burials, meaning actually burying other elephants mostly, would allow elephants, I am assuming the smaller ones, the little ones, to be able to discern between living and dead elephants. And that would in turn have a very positive effect, because basically allows the little ones not to be detached from the rest of the group, not to get lost in the forest or in the savannah because they think that the dead elephant is actually alive, right? So that is a very important practice that safeguard them and safeguard their unity as a group, and therefore allows them to be together and to stay together and to travel together. Now, I actually have no clue and no understanding why that would happen. If they actually bury because they are compassionate individuals, compassionate elements, and so if that happens for that reason, or if they bury just in order to hide, a dangerous or potentially dangerous element and remain united as a group. I have no idea why that happens, but I find that a very interesting behavior, and also behavior that has long-term consequences on their societies and on the structure of their societies. With that being said, I would want to highlight here the power of their brains, but in general, the power of brains that elaborate this sorts of behavior that are very productive and very, that allow social behaviors to exist and to be possible in these societies. But with that being said, I really want to know what you guys think, so let me know. Please comment below, let me know your thoughts, let me know what you make out of this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, don't forget to like the video and hit the notification bell. We're gonna talk some more next time with a new video, and with that being said, bye bye.